Hannity starts with, the only pushback I've seen is of, you releasing the violent criminals. I'm pretty sure I've seen other pushback of releasing all of the January 6th guys, but I get it. He's saying it from a right-wing perspective. Trump says, oh, there's just a couple of fake guys on CNN. Those are actually real police officers who were assaulted, and one of them had a heart attack afterwards. There's absolutely nothing fake about them. That's the usual Trump nonsense.
In this video, we're going to react to another Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian meltdown. What's got them in a tizzy, you ask? Well, Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian are super grumpy that Donald Trump pardoned the January 6th protesters. With that, let's enjoy another classic Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian TYT meltdown.
You did run on a platform. You were very straightforward. You said you would pardon these people that were sentenced for January 6th.
No, totally.
You did. The only criticism or pushback I've seen is about people that were convicted or were involved in incidents where they were violent with police. Why did they get a pardon?
Fox News anchor Sean Hannity had a lengthy sit-down interview with Donald Trump and asked the question that I'm sure many are wondering: why exactly did he think it was a good idea to do sweeping pardons of the January 6th rioters, namely the individuals who carried out acts of violence against the police officers on that day? And Trump basically, look, the guy doesn't hold back, right? He just says what he actually thinks. And in this case, he admitted that he didn't really care enough to go through the case-by-case review of individuals who were seeking to be pardoned. Let's take a look.
Number one, they were in there for 3.5 years, a long time.
Right.
And in many solitary confinement, treated like nobody's ever been treated so badly. They were treated like the worst criminals in history. And you know what they were there for? They were protesting the vote because they knew the election was rigged and they were protesting the vote. And that you should be allowed to protest a vote. You should be allowed to. When the day comes,
you shouldn't be able to invade the Capitol.
No, ready? Most of the people were absolutely innocent. Okay, but forgetting all about that, these people have served horribly a long time. It would be very, very cumbersome to go and look. You know how many people we're talking about? 1,500 people. Almost all of them should not have been, this should not have happened. And the other thing is this, some of those people with the police, true, but they were very minor incidents, okay? They get built up by that couple of fake guys that are on CNN all the time.
Nobody watches.
They were very minor incidents, and it was time. You have murderers in Philadelphia. You have murderers in Los Angeles that don't even get any time.
And those murderers in Los Angeles and Philly should 100% get time behind.
The only reason anybody's pretending to be outraged by this whole January 6th thing is that the media has made it look like this was a small army ready to take over the government, when it was just a protest that got out of hand. And just to be clear, if you break the law, you need to be punished for it. But it's my belief, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, that these people have been charged to the furthest extent of the law, regardless of what their crime was, but for their particular crime, and their sentences aren't comparable to other people that weren't involved with January 6th who committed a similar crime. I have no empathy for someone who attacks a police officer. However, it's my opinion, as Donald Trump said, these people have done their time. So not only have they been there for 3.5 years, truly treated like dog shit, it's my understanding some have yet to receive due process. I could be wrong on that. That could be exaggeration or speculation. But more important than any of these things, their lives are ruined. 1,500 people, and I don't think they're ever going to live normal lives again, because this will always be associated with them. For the vast majority of the offenses, if these people committed that offense and it had nothing to do with January 6th, their lives would go on just fine, because these are small offenses. I'm not saying any crime is good. I'm just trying to put it in perspective. Bottom line, they've done their time. They've been treated like garbage. Their lives have been ruined. What more do you want from them? Their blood? Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Behind bars if they're convicted of murdering people. But, look, I think it's important to differentiate people who were convicted of lesser charges, let's say stuff like trespassing, from the individuals who absolutely did carry out acts of violence and it was caught on camera. In fact, let me just quickly detail one of those individuals, one of those rioters. So his name is Matthew Kroll, and we're about to watch a video. Let's keep our mics up while I explain what you're seeing on the screen. This is a perfect example of someone who I don't think should have been pardoned. He's the individual wearing the red hoodie. He stole a baton from a police officer. You can see him holding it there and hitting someone over the head with it. And then the person he's hitting over the head is a police officer. He proceeds to assault cops with the baton he snatched away from a cop. So listen, if you're going to put everyone in the same bucket and pretend as if they were all, dealing with heavy-handed, prosecution, when all they did was mosey on into the Capitol building after the initial storming of the Capitol happened, it's just a total mischaracterization of some of these charges, of some of these individuals. Now, how many of these individuals carried out acts of violence? I don't know the exact number. What I do know is those people, unfortunately, were included in the sweeping pardons that Donald Trump did. And the reason why he's getting backlash is because people don't want to let individuals who assault cops off easy. And they feel that in this case, Donald Trump did.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to the substance of this in a second. First of all, they need higher chairs at the White House. So you'll go back and look at that clip of the interview and go, why are the chairs so short? Anyways, number two, oh, you see it? They look like they're kindergartners. Anyway, the tiniest point in history. So Hannity starts with, the only pushback I've seen is of, you releasing the violent criminals. I'm pretty sure I've seen other pushback of releasing all of the January 6th guys, but I get it. He's saying it from a right-wing perspective. Trump says, oh, there's just a couple of fake guys on CNN. Those are actually real police officers who were assaulted, and one of them had a heart attack afterwards. There's absolutely nothing fake about them. That's the usual Trump nonsense.
That's Trump nonsense, huh? I don't think so. But what I do think is nonsense is what you're spewing, Cheng, by mentioning that a police officer had a heart attack after the riots. You see, what happened was they used to claim that police were killed on January 6th, and public just believed them. So now that most people know that no one was killed except a protester, Ashley Babbitt, very tragically, it's not enough for them to just have some police officers being assaulted. They need death associated with it. So they have to throw in an instance of a police officer dying, in this case, someone who died after the riots of a heart attack, and try to associate it with January 6th. That is so stupid. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
But now we get to the substance of it. First, that whether it's an excuse or real, that was an amazing statement when he's like, I mean, looking through the whole case files would have been cumbersome. What does that mean? I was too lazy to figure out which one shoplifted and which one murdered. So, cumbersome. I just let them all go. Okay, so in this case, obviously, shoplifting and murder are examples that not what actually happened. So, but it might just be an excuse for, I really wanted to let him go. That's why I let him go, and I'll pretend that I'm just lazy. Although he really is lazy, so it might be real. Anyways, so why would he want to let him go? Well, look, you know the obvious answers, but I'm talking about just the violent criminals, the one that attacked the cops. Does he actually believe all the things he's said about the cops? Blue lives matter, got to protect the police. No, he doesn't care about the police. He doesn't care about anybody, right? Though there's one guy he cares about, Donald J. Trump. So these guys went to war for him, and they committed violence for who? For Trump, of course. Look, unless you're like total MAGA cult, and you think all those people did that violence for Nancy Pelosi or Antifa.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the videos.
Or tourism, they obviously did it for Trump. So Trump's going, hey, thanks a lot, guys. Not just for past services, willing to say, hang Mike Pence and attack cops and do anything for Donald Trump. But if you think about it, also potentially for future reasons. Hey, if I need you guys to attack someone else again, number one, you're free to go, so you can do that. And number two, remember, if you do it, I'm just gonna let you out of prison anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's lazy. That story came out yesterday. You weren't on the show, but I covered it and I totally believe it. You really think that Donald Trump is going to sit down and carefully, personally review 1,500 separate cases?
No,
And then,
no. But
yeah,
Anna,
and
look, so is he lazy? I've said it 8 times already in this story, and that's part of the reason, but I don't think that's the main reason. And second of all, the president doesn't have to personally do that. You just assign some guy at the White House, you'll have cases to sift through in a matter of hours, right? So
This is one of the fakest news stories I've heard in a long time. Donald Trump is lazy. Who would possibly believe that? You may hate him, but he's not lazy. He's however old he is, and he's got more energy than both of you combined. Look at all the stuff he's gotten done. But forget that. You may say, well, that doesn't take like energy or not being lazy, just tell someone to do it. Okay, look at all the transparency he gives to the press. Look at all of the updates and speeches he does. He's done more since he's been inaugurated than Joe Biden did in his entire term in office. What are they talking about? This is so dumb. And then they're trying to tell us that Donald Trump doesn't care about the police. Okay, yeah, which side is the side of law and order? Let's just look at who causes the most chaos in this country. One party is far and away the winner in that race. So stop it. And then he always throws in the hang Mike Pence thing. It's not okay. They had like an effigy of the guy, I think, and he was, hanging on it. And they were like, hang Mike Pence. Okay, yeah. Someone screamed that in the crowd. It's extremely distasteful. It's threatening. Maybe that person, I don't know, has been charged or should be charged for threats if it's breaking the law, but stop acting like they had Mike Pence at the gallows. It's so stupid. If you watch Shank at all, it's so transparent. I just don't understand how anyone listens to these people. God. And then Anna, I thought you were starting to grow a brain, but to call Donald Trump lazy, I mean, it's such a dumb argument. I mean, I remember a while ago on PBD podcast, Jenks said Donald Trump's a loser. And everyone in the room was like, what? I remember doing a whole video on it. It's like, what are you talking about? Those are just insane statements. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about this ridiculous report from Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian on the Young Turks? Let us know. Anyway, as always, we really, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.